Alrighty, so it is Friday, the 11th of October. Welcome to the Mindset Session. I'm Jonno Proudfoot, obviously. I'm the CEO of Real Meal, and we do this once a week to look at various issues of banting and see how we can troubleshoot them. There's some background noise in someone's office or something. We're getting sound from the mic. So if I could just ask anyone who's got noise in the background to mute. Colleen, can I mute you?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So if you do want to walk around, that's cool. Just ask that you mute because sometimes the rubbing of our phones against our clothing and everything does cause some disruption. So saying yes and saying no, I think if you watch the video this morning, you'll see what the concept is. But we've got a good mix of members in the room today. So I'd like to just go around. I want to hear your name and your location. And then I'd like you to say the sentence, what I struggle to say yes to is, and what I struggle to say no to is. And that'll give good context for the session. So Kerry, because you were first, you are first again.
Oh goodness, for me. Oh dear. Okay, I'm Kerry from Cape Town. I struggle to say no to a glass of good red wine. I struggle to say yes to sometimes doing the right thing when it comes to my body. Yeah. So maybe it's exercising or something like that. So I have these struggles within myself. So yeah, that's the best I can come up with in 2 seconds, Jonno.
That's cool. Okay, Colleen. Oh, I muted you. There you go. You're unmuted now. Yeah.
What I struggle to say yes to is healthy eating. I'm talking and exercise. So I'm talking about taking a salad choice. I don't like salad. I don't like it. So I struggle to say yes to not always a healthy option because I think with Real Meal you can have like your protein, etc. But it's to say yes to salad and exercise. What I struggle to say no to is to wine, definitely wine, and I think also, based on my last 2 weeks' experience, is to say no to being unprepared. Yeah.
You struggle to say
no to being
no to being prepared.
Yeah.
Struggle to say no
to planning, I suppose, or no. Basically, when I was away, I couldn't say no to no. Let's not go for lunch. Let's just have something at home. Because I hadn't got anything prepared. I hadn't planned ahead. I'm on holiday. I'm in somebody else's home, and it's easier just to take that option, to take the easy option, to say let's rather go for dinner, a meal.
Okay. Could I just spaghetti this and say that you struggle to say no to people?
Yeah, one person in particular. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's gold, by the way. I love that. Not that I love that that's what happens, but I love that that's on the list. Okay.
That's very true. That's I'll second that.
All righty. Yeah. Good. This is good stuff. All righty. If you just give me 1 second, I'm actually drawing another table. I think we've done the table before. It worked very well. Table. Let's do loads of lines. Lots of lines. Okay. All right. Okay. Who's next? We've got Monica. Monica, what do you struggle to say yes to? Where are you, and what do you struggle to say no and yes to?
Okay, so I'm in Wartburg, which is not so far from Pietermaritzburg in KwaZulu-Natal. I struggle to say yes to sure, let me do the no first. I struggle to say no to somebody who has gone to a lot of trouble to invite me to a coffee or a tea, and has a cake that she baked because I was coming. And that is quite difficult. Then I can't say no. I struggle to say yes to incorporating the sort of for me, less tastier parts of beef, like the liver, and I suppose because I don't really cook it enough, so I'm not confident in getting it to taste good. But I really struggle. I haven't chicken livers I can do, but kidneys, heart, brain, I really struggle to say yes to that.
Okay. Struggle to say yes to offal. Okay.
Yes.
Alrighty. Rob Pardon Cooper, where are you and what do you struggle to say yes or no to?
Back in Durban now. I was up at the Kruger Park for the last week with a group of all of my cousins, and it was quite a big reunion. And I struggled to say no to just about everything because there was terrible peer pressure there. I was the youngest cousin, and all the other fellas there were my seniors right the way through our lives. And I am a coward when it comes to not or being able to say no to, well, let's say, obviously I'm prepared to say no to alcohol, but the rest of it was difficult when it came to, let's say pudding, and they've prepared this amazing meal, and you feel pretty bad if you don't take it because they've offered it to you. In fact, that's one of the reasons I joined this session here today, because I want to find out from you guys what I must do next time. Hopefully somebody's going to help me. What I struggle to say yes to.
Can I stop you there, Rob, just for a second? I just want to know. So again, just to mirror what I said to Colleen, and sort of what Monica said as well, but it sounds as well like you actually struggle to say no to people, perhaps people you respect and admire, because you don't.
Pretty much.
Because you've been good up until now at saying no to some of the unhealthier foods. Is that right? Up until you got to Kruger.
When I'm in control of my own situation, I have no problem. But we have a thing called peer pressure. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much peer pressure. You could call it that.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
An embarrassment from having to constantly defend yourself with your low carb way of eating, because people out there just don't really know or care. Everybody's got their own opinion, and you really want to try and keep it to yourself if you can, because it can become a long conversation piece at the table.
Yeah.
Or a difficult one,
Well, we'll touch on that if we've got time as well. But for now, what do you struggle to say yes to?
Exercise. It's mentioned before. I should be getting out there and doing a little bit of exercise. But the best I can muster is my golf game on a Saturday at the moment.
Awesome. Well, not awesome, but thanks for sharing. Awesome that you shared. Okay. Michelle Cantley, where are you? What do you struggle to say yes and no to?
I'm in Zambia, and I have to apologize, Jonno, because I didn't see your chat this morning. We've been driving back from Lusaka, so I got in like 10:30 from leaving at 5 o'clock this morning.
Sure.
So I'm trying to sort of pick up as I go along.
No, that's fine.
I struggle to say yes to unexpected plans. I don't like surprises. But maybe you don't have to agree to surprises anyway. Maybe the surprises just happen. I struggle to say no when somebody's asked me to help and I'm busy. I'm a people pleaser. I like to help people when I actually haven't got the time.
Okay. It's good. There's a trend here, which is very interesting. Wendy, thank you, Michelle. Wendy, where are you? What do you struggle to say yes and no to?
I'm in Durban, and I struggle to say yes to always doing all the prep. I'm lazy, and struggle to say yes to exercise, and I never used to. But I'm pleasantly surprised when I do do a bit. So yeah, that's maybe encouraging. And then I struggle to say no to things like fruit, because in my mind still fruit is good. So I find it hard to say no to like things, fresh strawberries or fresh whatever, you know. So yeah, and surprisingly I haven't found it too hard to say no to the red wine, which I was really a very fond of. Not that I don't still like it, but yeah.
Awesome.
When I see the damage it does, it loses its luster. So yeah, no.
That's great. Cool. Now I've got Chu.
Hi guys, I'm
How's it been?
Siu. All right, man. I'm based up in Centurion. What I struggle to say yes to, I'm struggling a lot to say yes to exercise at the moment. Hopefully I can bring that back into my lifestyle. But yeah, at the moment I'm not doing any exercise. What I'm struggling to say no to is alcohol in a social setting. In terms of at a party, I'd rather not go to the party than go to the party and not drink. And I think my long-term success is in me learning to go to a party and having my sparkling water and lemon and being content and finding joy in that. But I don't think I'm that far off that scenario. But yeah, at the moment I haven't. I'd rather avoid.
Yeah, that's and avoiding's fun. Hey, that's actually that's definitely an action, which is great.
Yeah. Okay.
So
it is a positive action.
Yeah. I mean, if you can't at that stage make a yes or no decision, you know, like what do they call it, a spoiled vote? That's also fun, you know. So that's awesome. So thanks very much, all of you, for sharing. I'm glad. It seems like the no thing is, you know, it's all in the face of other people, which is really good. The yeses that we all struggle to say are different. Exercise come up once or twice, but it's almost seems more like you just struggle to say yes to things you don't like, whereas you struggle to say no to things that that you're influenced by other people, where there's influence. So the distinction I drew in the video that I sent out this morning, and what I want to look at today, is that when you say yes, you are saying no, and when you say no, you are saying yes. And I'd love to have, because almost every single person to an extent has said that they are saying no, that they struggle to say no to people. I'd like to unpack, when you say no to someone, Monica, you said when someone's gone through the effort. Rob, you said when you're getting peer pressure. This isn't necessarily about food. This is about yourself and about like your own independence. What are you saying yes to? And everyone can answer this question. So Kerry, when you say no to someone, what is it? You just struggle to say, oh no, Kerry, you said you struggle to say no to red wine.
Well, but yeah, no, but I mean, but they also articulated, in fact, what I do struggle with, and that is also correct, with friends or work colleagues when we having a function at work, or you know, it's if I say, which I did, funny enough, at a rugby function, whatever, a few days ago, and then I said no, I'm not having the muffins or something, and then it creates a big stir and incident in the office because Kerry's not having muffins or chips or whatever. So you know, and then you've got to explain yourself, and you know, despite just trying to keep it on the down low because it's a personal choice that I've made. So yeah, but as you say, when I say no, it's just how to approach that. I would like some guidance on. Yeah,
Sure.
because it's uplifting me now, you know.
Yeah. Well, we'll discuss the practicalities around it just now. But what I'm more interested in is that when you say no, or when you say yes, in this instance, when you struggle to say no, you're saying yes. What are you actually saying no to when you say yes to someone who wants you to drink or wants you to eat crap or wants you to do something?
You're saying no to yourself and to your achieving your goals, your objectives, and becoming the person that your best person that you want to be. I would say.
Yeah. And would you like to add anything to that? Anything else you're saying no to?
Who, me or other people?
No, we're gonna get the whole team involved in this. So just you before I move on. Yeah.
Yes, no. Well, basically, I mean, I feel like I'm undermining my efforts and my self-worth and self-esteem by having to justify myself, but yet I keep on doing it and playing the game. And then, you know, I would think, okay, I'll kind of start again tomorrow because, yes, I'm also a people pleaser to my own detriment. And then as soon as I have, whether it's the glass of red wine and it's just maybe one glass, which in theory should be fine, then of course it starts a snowball effect, because then it will lead to some crisps and then maybe some salty cracks or, you know, whatever. So, and then it just has such a detrimental effect. So it's definitely saying no then to my goals and objectives.
That's great. Perfect. Colleen Princely. Oh, wait, she didn't hear me. Okay, well, we'll get to Monica and come back to Colleen. Monica, when you struggle to say no to someone who's put a lot of effort in, so when you end up saying yes, what are you saying no to?
Well, I'm saying no. I'm saying no to staying off sugar. I know I'm a huge sugar addict, and if I didn't say yes to that piece of cake or yes to her love and putting the effort in, I'm putting myself aside and saying, okay, I know I'm a sugar addict. She knows I'm a sugar addict, but because I think that's quite important to start telling people, look, even if you don't name it, like you said in one of the very first sessions, you said you don't have to name it banting, you don't have to name it whatever. You can just say, you know what, I'm off sugar for a while, or whatever you want to say. And I feel it's important to tell everybody. So even if she knows that I'm a sugar addict and I'm still saying yes to it, it's bringing a lot of other issues that I have to deal with later on my own without her love. So, you know, a brain chemical that then puts my mood totally into a depressed state. Then craving sugar again from the start and having to actually put in this huge effort of discipline, which is normally lacking then. And it's for such a short time that I have to say no to her, but it takes such a long time to have to say no to all of these other things that I have to deal with, and that normally takes days.
Yeah. So what is like if there was a positive of like taking days? So in other words, so if it takes, like, what would the converse be of taking days to come right if you just carried on? Would that be like no? What are you saying no to? Saying no to like an easy life, an easy week?
Do you mean if I then didn't say yes to the piece of cake?
Yeah. So if you had to go through a week of like not craving sugar and coming out of all that stuff, what would that be? What would that look like? What is that? Is that like a week of bliss, peace, calm?
Yes, definitely.
Wholesome Monica.
Yes, good sleep, a happy mood, being able to deal with stress, yeah, all of those things, and not having to. It's actually a lot easier for me rather to not have any sugar than to have to try and cope with having all of those cravings again. Because the longer I stay off sugar, the less I need it, or the less I crave it.
Mm-hmm.
So if I then, even with artificial sweeteners, if I then have some of that, it's such a trigger for me to then have to say, oh, okay, no, I've had something sweet. It's bringing back all of these. I want some more, and basically losing control then. I'll have a week of being in control and not having obsessions about food and thinking about it constantly. It'll be a cruising week for me. If I then say no.
Sweet. That's awesome. Alrighty. Thanks, Monica. That's great. Or Rob Pardon Cooper, when you say no to your mates, when you say yes to your mates, what are you saying no to?
Well, listening to all the other people, I've obviously set out on a course which is really one to heal myself as best I can to get my all of these metabolic markers, syndrome markers, into a place where I really want them to be, and together with that, my weight would also come down, and I'm saying no to achieving those goals. Ultimately, I really want to get there, and I've experienced that very same thing over the last week. It's been I've watched my line flatten out and start rising again. And it's been a disappointment to me, but I have one big thing that I'm really grateful for, is that I've got a target to reach. And okay. I know that I'm heading that way, and I got to wanna, so I'm going to carry on, you know?
So just to go back to that place where you like under the knife from the shareholders. Goodness, sorry.
They are like shareholders, yeah.
I don't even know where that came from. Like, I'm like thinking, what?
Peer pressure?
Peer pressure, shareholders, peers,
stakeholders.
Stakeholders.
Peers.
Yeah, anyway, I need to get to sleep. So what are you saying when you say yes to them? So when you buckle under so you say yes to them, so you buckle under that peer pressure. What are you saying no to?
Achieving my goals, achieving what it is that I want to achieve, and yeah.
But there's more there. There's more because you're saying no to a few more things. There's obviously the physical, practical stuff, but you're also saying no to something personal.
Feeling good.
Yeah.
Well, obviously when I do achieve what I'm setting out to achieve, I do certainly feel a sense of accomplishment, and, well-being is possibly a good thing. I'm saying no to my well-being and all of that, because it really does. It does make you feel good when you're in a ketogenic state. There's no question about it.
Can I prompt you a little bit there? And that's with, you're also saying no to your individuality in a peer pressure situation.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I'm just trying to work that one out. Yeah. In the one situation that I was in, there were quite a few high-flying directors, you wanted to call them now, earlier on, but within the family, these guys manage large business accounts, and my individuality, who was I in that group? Well, I was the youngest oak there, and nobody really kind of sees me as an individual, or ever did see me as an individual, possibly, if I had to look at it that way. By saying no to the food, in this case, the food that they were offering me, are you saying that it would actually separate me from the crowd and make me feel good about what I've done? Or I'm trying to understand that.
So, well, it's not so much about, so when you're saying no to, when you say yes to peer pressure, you are buckling because of what people think. And that is, because you don't want people to think, badly of you, or you don't want to upset the boat. But if this is your crusade, essentially you're putting everyone else's, like, what everyone else can handle as normal ahead of everything that you've just said, your feeling of accomplishment, your progress, your well-being. But this is also part of your identity, to be healthy and to look after your health. And when you buckle under peer pressure in an instant like this, you're actually saying no to furthering your identity. And not to say that it should be about you proving yourself to these people. It's more about holding on to yourself for the sake of you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know, I'm with you. I failed in that one particular circumstance where at the end of the meal, all of the group of cousins that I was with were all very familiar by now, because we had spent 7 days together, about my journey, and they were all watching to see my reaction when the pudding was brought out onto the table, a specially prepared, highly addictive sugar pudding which had been brought out. I can't remember the name of it, but they were like dumplings with all sorts of it was all pastry with jam inside it. You can imagine the trillions of carbohydrates that were in there.
Yes.
And at that point in time, that was my testing point. The rest of it I had done well. I had avoided. And they're watching me, these guys. They really are. They're making jokes about it all the time as it's going along. And to some extent, I quite like it, because it's a conversation piece, and we can talk about it and we can argue about it and stuff like that. But when it came to the pudding, I should have said no. I did say no, and it was put in front of me, and I ate it. Why in hell did I eat the damn thing? When it was simply because of this one particular rich cousin I was trying to get on her good side, really, and I didn't achieve anything good for myself.
Yeah, and I'd argue that by not sticking to your guns, you may not have actually impressed her as much as you could have if you just stood
Possibly, strong. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I'd love to know. I doubt that I'd ever get that out of her, but anyhow.
You can't really send out a survey for feedback on that one. Okay, thanks, Rob. No. Thanks. Wendy.
Okay.
You seem to just struggle to say no to fruit. So we're going through saying no to people. So do you mind if I just skip you on the fruit one for now? Or do you struggle to say no to people?
As well, but yeah, I've just got a thing on that. My thing is, look, if those people are really in your court, they're going to leave you alone. If they're not in your court, they're not going to leave you alone, and they're going to keep on. And their intentions aren't actually very good.
Yeah, I've got a piece on that which I'll mention just now, Wendy. It's a good way to explain it. But yeah, you're dead right. Sue.
Yes. What's the question again?
No, that's all good.
Yeah.
So you say you struggle to say no to alcohol in a social setting.
Hmm.
And I was saying, when you're struggling to say no and you say yes to alcohol, what are you actually saying no to?
Okay, so if I give in and I want to please people and I take the drink, I'm actually saying no to getting up the next morning and being able to plan and execute what I have to stay on a low carbohydrate, high fat diet. And another thing that I'm saying no to is being able to positively. So if I don't do what I have to, and I eat the wrong things and I don't lose the weight, I'm saying no to an opportunity to positively impact other people, because I'd already lost a lot of weight on a low carbohydrate diet, and this other guy was remarking that, oh, you're the poster boy of Banting here in the office. So if I don't do the right thing, there are people who I can see they wanna know more about it, but they need to see me living what I preach. So if I say yes to me drinking the drink, making wrong choices after drinking it, having to take a whole day off, recovering from that babalas, and not doing what I have to do, I'm saying no to me being able to live what I preach.
Give me 1 second. Okay, bye. Sorry. She just got back from school. Yeah, try explain what professionalism and keeping quiet is to a 4-year-old. If anyone has any tips there. When I say no to her, I'm saying yes to I may as well be saying yes. So, I apologize. So thanks Chu. I got that. Yeah. So the poster child of Banting, that's good to know. I'm gonna hold you to that.
Yeah.
Michelle Cantley, what happens when you said that you struggle to say no to people when you're busy. So what are you saying when you say yes to people when you're busy? What are you saying no to?
I'm saying no to getting my own work done.
She'll be back. This happens all the time. Michelle?
Oh, sorry. I just answered. I said I'm saying no to getting my own work done. Do I go further on that?
Yeah, if you like.
No,
you don't have to.
Okay. I tend to be a people pleaser. Somebody asks me for help. Can you do this? Can you help with that? Can you go and do some shopping for me because you're in town? And in fact, I had it with my daughter, actually, this last trip, when she asked us to bring must have been about 6 kilos of sausage skins back. So we had to fit those in the car with everything else. And then not only was that, she was actually late to meet us at the road because I sent a message saying, please be there at 10 o'clock. And when I rang her, she said, I'm just leaving now and it takes her 10 minutes to get there. So, I was hoping that we would be home and I could have time to sort of prepare myself and set up for these sessions. And I'm still in a bit of a rush and we're still unpacking and I don't know where anything is. So, it stresses me a bit when that sort of thing happens.
So you're saying no to peace and calm?
I'm saying no to peace and calm.
Okay. So I'm just going to share my screen here to illustrate what we've all said. Petroline. Yeah. Oh, Colleen. Sorry, I didn't get you because
I went off quickly.
Yeah, you went off quickly. So let's get you. Sorry, thank you for reminding me to bring you back. Let's add you in at the end.
Okay, I think mine is very similar to everybody else in terms of not being able to say no to somebody, and therefore, what does it say about me? And I agree with what you've said, that you lose your individualism, you give your power or your decision making, you basically, mine is a bit of, I collude with them. So my partner, he doesn't put the pressure on me. I will go along and so I'm trying to say that it's not always the other person putting pressure on you. It's sometimes your own lack of self-esteem, control, belief. It's because I'm on this journey purely for myself and on my own, and I'm 100% supported. So if I had to turn around and say, no, I'm not going to have any wine, he would be fine with it. But I do it in a social situation or when we were with family and friends in Durban. So what I'm saying no to is when I say yes to something and I'm saying no to my myself, like I don't know how to explain it, but it's not always other people's fault. Sometimes
self-sabotage in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's not like I'm being pressurized to lose weight for any kind of reason. It's just for myself. And so when I do things that are unhealthy or make the unhealthy choice, it's often myself that does that.
So does it make sense? Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Colleen, what I think you're suggesting is, and it's a minor change in writing, but instead of saying, you're not saying no to yourself, like which I wrote up here somewhere, yourself. You're actually saying no to your space, self, like your whole self. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by that?
Not denying yourself, like saying no. You just actually, to your whole self.
Yeah. And so this is what, if you struggle to say no to people, or when you say yes to people to please them or to please them, or to or for peer pressure, these are all of the things that you're saying. Well, not all in the same instance, but that's a lot of stuff that you're depriving yourself of. No to achieving goals, no to yourself, no to the best person you want to be, no to your efforts, to your self-esteem, your health, to sugar, to staying off sugar, to accomplishment, to your individuality, to your power. So these are all things that we put other people's opinions and needs or wants ahead of in our own lives, and which is actually crazy if you think about it. Is there anyone else who agrees that is crazy?
Absolutely.
It doesn't make any sense at all. It's like
insane.
When you think about it like that, you're like, what on earth? Like, yes, I'll have the piece of cake because you're a nice person, but you're just saying no to all of this other stuff. So look, the reason people do things like try and get you to cheat, it's multifaceted. Okay. Sometimes, and I think, I had an experience where someone close to me was doing her MBA, and a few of her friends started talking behind her back, and she had just had a baby, and they just said, like, it's disgusting what she's doing. I can't believe it. She's neglecting the child. And basically what ended up happening was that her friends turned their backs on her. But it also turned out that all of her friends were like part-time working moms. And my opinion of the situation is that, and they had all had like commerce degrees and stuff. Sorry, there's someone's sound in the background. Who's got someone in the background? Is it you? Okay. And basically, what it came down to, and this happens in every single instance, what it comes down to is that every single person in your environment, whether you like it or not, everyone compares themselves to others. So everyone is sitting there with like a kind of unspoken social rank or social standing. And if you see yourself as like, say like just with weight, if you see yourself as like a 5 out of 10 with weight, and you know that your friend over there is a 4, you're slightly ahead of them, but your other friends are 9 and they're like untouchable, I can tell you now, like that 9 out of 10 will know or sort of think that you're also like maybe a 5, and then your other friend is like a 4. Everyone recognizes how good or bad they are in certain instances. And we make that part of our identity on a subconscious level. And what happens is when you see someone, or when someone sees someone threatening, trying to step above themselves, it threatens their identity, because it's actually upsetting the whole balance of how they've constructed their personality and where they see themselves socially or wherever. Does that make sense to everyone?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what this girl doing her MBA was doing was actually, in the eyes of the other people who turned their backs on her, she was actually, they saw her as like threatening their identity as these like, you know, high flyers. And their response to it was to like belittle her and bully her even behind her back. And it was, you know, hectic. And that's what I've seen as well. Like when I have a health goal, you know, quit drinking, everyone is so threatened by it. They ask you all these questions. Why don't you just have a little drink? Because the idea that you can go without alcohol and still be fine with it means that actually maybe I have a problem that I can't. So I'd rather attack you about your decision to go off alcohol than look at myself and address that issue. Does everyone understand that?
Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. So
I agree, but I also think that it's not only what other people, that your social standing, it's within yourself, where you identify yourself. So sometimes you don't think you could ever be a 9, or you don't, you know, you limit yourself, not just other people limiting you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what happens. So when someone says, so for instance, like Rob's dynamic over the holiday, Rob, if I can pick on you as an example, I hope you don't mind.
I've been picked on the whole week, so carry on.
Well, this is so it's Future Friday today, where we reflect on the week and plan, you know, for next week. So there's no such thing as failure. The only failure is a failure to learn. So exactly what happened there, you know, obviously everyone's new, they're trying to get to know each other, you know, or like you said, build rapport. I don't know how long you haven't seen each other for, but and you're the youngest. So you will have a position in your mind of where you fit with everyone, and all of them will have a position in their mind of where you fit. Now, if they're all older than you and you're this young guy with this, you know, idea of health and that actually like it's reversing chronic illness, and they're older than you, they might be thinking, Jesus, this guy's actually challenging our beliefs with health. And who the hell does he think he is? We're like older, wiser, we know better. And that's what, and you obviously threatened their idea of their own health. So their defense mechanism is to like bully you into breaking it, so they can prove that like you don't have more willpower than they do. But likewise, you know, that challenged your idea of whether or not you could like move up in your own opinion of yourself. And what probably happened was, at that time you thought, oh, well, maybe I can't, maybe they're right, or maybe just for now they're right. You know, I'll move up at a later stage. Does that ring true at all?
Possibly. Getting back to that last bit of pudding, and generally throughout the whole time that I spent with everybody, you know, at the end of the day, I wasn't on a social rank, or a lie. There was a social rank there, definitely, without doubt. A hierarchy there in that environment of mine. And however, I wasn't, I must admit, I was proud of what I was doing. I felt good about that. And I think in the long run, the net effect of that is those people are going to think about this. And I'll give you an example. The final conversation we had when I left on Wednesday morning. No, sorry, it was Tuesday night. We were eating again, and my older cousin, you can imagine all these oaks were, I'm old, these poor buggers were older. It was quite rough on them, but the oldest of the lot has got massive massive aching and pains in all of his joints. And after all of the discussions that we had had around this, he came to the conclusion he should actually start limiting his sugar. Because really this is possibly causing all of this acid buildup in his body. And he you know, it just made so much sense over the period of time. But yeah, I've forgotten the point that we were making there now.
No, it was just an example of people's stature or people making changes to themselves, challenging the people in their environments, identities. Yeah.
I never thought of it like that while it was happening, but now that I am thinking about it, it's a very interesting point for me to take forward. It really is. So from here on in, we don't know where we're standing. Are we trying to rise above all these other people, or what are we trying to do, and how are the other people feeling? You know.
And just to close it off, I wanted to say that it's definitely about you. And it's not about rising above anyone else, but it incidentally ends up being rising above other people, and not everyone likes that happening to the people who are in a certain position. So there's just three things I wanted to. We're coming to the end now, so there are three things I just wanted to touch on. The one was there were questions about how do we say no, there are three different ways. So the one is, and I say this all the time, I say lie, okay? Make up a lie. So there's
give us an example.
Yeah, I'll give you an example now. There's preventing the need to say no, which I'll give some examples of as well. And then there's just saying no, okay? And I would say that just saying no is by far the best option, to just take full ownership and responsibility and say no. But
also the hardest, sorry.
that is the hardest, and so so the thing is, you can start small. So the first two, like Stu mentioned it earlier, which was prevention. He was like, sometimes it's easier just to not go. That's fine. Not go, avoid until you feel comfortable and confident. That obviously does, in the long term, that's like antisocial behavior, and that should be a temporary measure. Monica, for instance, your example was perfect. For the other way of prevention, which is, if your friend is actually sharing love by being so kind to make a cake, and she obviously knows like you love cake, and if you didn't love cake, then you wouldn't have a sugar problem. But if she does love you and you do have a good relationship, it would be worth being open and honest about it. And like, if she is a true friend, she would respect that and perhaps make a different kind of snack, or change the nature of your engagement from being a cake and tea meeting to like going for a walk in a botanical garden meeting, or doing something completely different together. I know that you have dogs, or doing gardening yourself. Does that help at all? Because that is a preventative measure. Monica?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I've really found that just maybe even informing them beforehand, before I'm talking about another scenario now, maybe if you've been invited to a braai, to say, you know what, I'll bring a salad because I'm off sugar and I'm trying to lower my carbs, so that they know it beforehand, that when it is there, sometimes it doesn't even become a topic. Because they already know it beforehand. So information sharing for me is also very important.
Yeah, and it's much less awkward to be pre-warned than like on the day when they're like, "Here, don't you want garlic bread?" And you're like, "Oh, no," and everything. And then the other two. So when I said lie, like, what is the lie? So I stopped drinking, and I stopped drinking because I think I had a drinking problem. And it's a problem. It's a matter of the relationship, not the volume. So if you're tormented by it and you think about it all the time, like I wasn't drinking enough to like ruin anything in my life, but I was certainly thinking about it a lot. And like I told my shrink, like, I don't have a drinking problem, and he said, well, this is how it works. If you struggle and you think about it all the time, then you do. But I didn't want to tell people like I stopped drinking because I had a drinking problem. That was like embarrassing at the time. Yeah, it's awkward. So when people say, why did you stop drinking? I'm like, no, I'm focusing on my career. You know, I just want to have like a super clear head just for a year, I think, and I'll see how it goes. And that kept me going for a good 6 months. And then I said, no, I'm feeling really good. You know, I'm just going to keep it going for longer. And only like, I think this year I started just saying, yeah, I think I had a drinking problem. So you can lie. And in the case of food, I would say you could, you know, you could say I have like a seriously harsh reaction to sugar. It's you know, I'm allergic to this. I have crazy gluten. It's just furred up in the last year. Like I saw this doctor and he's, you know, they told me to come off this change, you know, like you just make it like 10 times worse. And also if it's very difficult for you to own it, like as you're starting off, you just blame it on circumstances out of your control. Like if someone said to you that they were a celiac, you would not give them wheat. So there's no reason for you to just say something that puts it out of your control. Like, I can't do it. It causes X, Y, and Z. Just lie. But just make sure it's consistent. It's the same lie.
Can I come in there?
Yeah. Come. Please feel free.
Isn't it so? My strategy at some point is that I'll say carbohydrates make me sick, but that's true, isn't it? They are making me sick. They're making
totally
me obese. I'm at risk of
That's a
diabetes.
good one.
Yeah.
So they make me sick.
Absolutely.
And I go with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other good
So it's
lies?
not really a lie. It's a white lie, but okay.
Yeah.
It's a good one. Yeah, I like that.
On the topic of just saying no,
Yes.
I've actually observed a lot of thin people. You know, if you go and have tea at an awkward time and they say, oh, I'm not going to have anything now because I've just had breakfast, or whatever the case is, they don't get any resistance. It's fine, you know, and they can often say no to things and not have any guilt. Because that's just the way it is. No, I'm not hungry now, or no, I'm sometimes not even giving an answer, just saying no, thank you.
Yeah.
And you know, because I'm on the larger side, I think, oh shucks, what are other people going to think about it? Most of the time, I actually, well, it could just be my perception, I don't know, but often when I've seen skinny people, they are just not fazed at all to say no.
Yeah. Because put yourself first and say no. So let's just go around quickly. We've got like 3 more minutes. I'd love to hear just like one little piece of feedback from each person, and then I'll let you go for your weekend. I know it's been weekend for an hour in Cape Town already.
No.
So Kerry, what are your thoughts? Do you feel like you're empowered to say no?
Absolutely. I think lying is a very good strategy for me to start off with. But I also think owning it and feeling empowered just to say no. And, you know, if you don't like it, that's your issue. And because this is me. And also since I turned 50, I'm like, you know, this is me and I've got every right to live my life the way I want to. So screw all of you. So that's what I'm going to do.
Great.
I'm feeling good. Thank you, Jonno.
Thanks, Kerry. Colleen, I'll unmute you.
Okay. I think that this has been very helpful because it's helped me look at my own blocking of things. So saying no is my issue. It's not imposed on me by somebody else. So it's opened my eyes to the fact that I can't go around blaming influence of people when it's actually I'm not owning the fact that I'm going off the rails or off the track of it.
Great. Cool. Thanks, Colleen. Monica.
It's been really good because it's helped me to actually say I shouldn't attach a feeling to saying no. I shouldn't feel guilty or make excuses. And to realize the things that I'm then actually giving up of my own, it's not a price that I want to pay. So saying no or saying yes to them is not an option anymore.
That's great. Oh, thank you. Rob, any takeaways?
Yeah, just basically, I mean, you know, your take on it about the alcohol thing. I understand that fully in detail. I understand that, and food is exactly the same. And we really need to grow up and say to ourselves, no, that's it, because it doesn't do us any good. We're harming other people as well sometimes with it. I need to do that. And looking back on my trip, when the bread roll was there with the butter and the potato salad and everything, and I could shove that together, I actually, in hindsight, when I look at it, I really wanted to eat that. And I was being untrue to myself at the end of the day. I just get over it, stop eating it, and start eating the good stuff. You know, and if there's no good stuff there, eat nothing or find something somewhere else.
Great.
I think I'm going to try that next time around.
And and we'll talk about this at a later stage, but there's no try, hey? There's only do or don't. Okay, like I always draw the example. I'm conscious of time. We'll talk about it next time. But yeah, there's no try. There's only do or don't.
Okay. I've only been on one session, eh?
Okay, cool.
The first one.
Okay. Wendy, take away quickly.
Just avoid the whole issue. Just don't even talk about it. Drink your tea or your coffee or whatever you're having. They put their muffins or so-and-so on the table. Just don't even talk about it. Don't find something else to talk about. The garden, the dogs. What happened last week, last night, anything. But don't talk about that and just pretend they're not there.
Awesome.
Like the thin people do.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Thanks. Chu.
Yeah, I'd also like to echo what Wendy just said. Yeah, if you don't feel like having sugar in your coffee, you don't, and you don't have to explain. You just say, "I'm not taking coffee, tea. What's this? Sugar in my coffee," and that's that.
Awesome.
A lot of people do that. Why must you feel awkward by saying I don't? Yeah.
Awesome. Michelle Cantley.
I think I was sort of partly lying as well by saying, no, my doctor doesn't want me to eat carbohydrates, and sort of saying that, I'm trying to lose weight because I want to be healthier. And I actually feel better when I don't eat carbohydrates. It makes me feel much more alert, much better in myself.
Awesome. Thanks, Michelle. Petroline, Shem, you've been very quiet. Yeah. Any takeaways, Petroline?
Quickly, just one thing. You should remember that most human behavior is just about a person wanting to belong somewhere. And many times when they have issues or tiffs with what you are doing, it's because of their own insecurities and their own issues. It has nothing to do with us or with you. So at the moment you say yes, you are giving permission to yourself to being sucked into their reality TV and all of their drama. So it really has nothing to do with each one of us. It's all about their issues, their drama, what they are going through in life. So nothing personal.
Awesome. All right. And with that, I wish you all a fantastic weekend, and I hope to see you next week. Have a good week and keep it real. All righty.
Thanks, Jonno.
Cheers, Jonno.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.